Today we're making a mallet just like this one for the hand tool build-off for the James Wright for our Wood by Wright channel. So let's show you how we do it. So this is a mallet that I built for myself, and it's got oak with this walnut in here, as well as a little walnut spline in the handle. So we're going to make one very similar to this for the hand tool build-off for the giveaway for our Wood by Wright. So James, let me show you what we started with. So I went through my wood scraps, and I know that when you get a couple of this rough sawn oak, you can really round these knots. I like having the natural features of the wood so you know it's really wood and not just looks like wood. So I tried to figure out if we could use some of these pieces in here. Look at that part of a limb coming out here, a little knot right there. And so I found something in here in a pile that I thought would be easy to use, and that's this piece of oak here with this knot in it. And so we'll make that part of the head for our mallet head. And then I wanted to have something that was nice for this strip in the handle. So I actually have some Brazilian wood that is a flooring, that's a piece of flooring scrap that I'm going to cut down and make for this particular segment of the handle for our little accent color. Let's get to cutting up. So while I am building a hand tool, I'm not necessarily building it by hand. So what I'm going to do is build it with a table saw. So I have a garage workshop. So when you have a small shop like I do, you have to be efficient in how you store your tools. This is my table saw. So let's get it down so we can start cutting. So I have my pieces marked up. So this piece here, this is going to be one side of the mallet head. That'll be the other side, and then that'll be the center. And then I'm going to take this piece of oak and we'll cut two sections of the handle, and then we'll have this piece as the spline in the middle of the handle, and then we'll have some little remnants left off for our wedges. So here I am cutting the mallet head pieces to size. So we make a couple of passes to get a front side and a back side, and then we'll have the next piece we cut down a couple of oak strips for the handle. Off camera I actually decided to add a third wood. Instead of having two sides of oak, add a third piece with the cherry. So here's the Brazilian hardwood. This is going to be the spline in the middle of the handle. So I'm cutting that to size, and also have to cut off the little overlap on each side of that and the polished finished edge on that to be able to prepare it for the handle. Right, now I'm going to take this center piece, and the center piece this is a straight line, and I'm going to cut a slight bevel over here. So watch how we do this, because we're going to do it freehand. I'm taking this piece and I see where my cut is, and I'm just putting a little bit of my ruler flat behind it to lift up this edge, so we know that that edge is going to be at an angle. So we're going to cut just to the left of that. Our piece with our angle cut in it. So all we have to do to get us is we're going to flip one piece over like that, and you can see we have just a little slight bit open bevel on this. And so you won't know, because this is the middle piece, how it works, but that's just enough bevel we need for our top. So this is the one side of the mallet. These are the two center pieces that will be wedged where the handle will insert, and this is the other side. So with that in mind, we're going to glue up these sides here. There's going to be a method to my madness, so we're going to glue up one side first and then allow it to dry before we put on the other side, because we're going to have to clean up in the middle. So what I'm going to do to prevent this from sliding a whole lot, I'm going to salt that just a touch. The salt will help that from slipping when we go to hold that glue. And what we have is an oak, we have a Brazilian wood, and then we have a cherry. So we're going to glue these on.
So after glue up and drying, I take my handle and run it through the table saw to square up all the sides, be able to get it prepared for the next step.
Okay, so I have the handle trimmed smooth on the edge, and we're going to work on cutting this portion that fits up into the mallet head. And so what we're going to do is trim the mallet head a little bit now so we can start to shape it. And once we do that, we'll know our exact thickness as well as the size. So I have my cut lines here. That's the edge of this straight down over here. And the same thing on this edge here. Here is my mallet head. And what we have to do is measure the inside width of this hole. So that says it's 0.87 that way, and it should be 0.77, 0.76, 3/4 of an inch that way. So that's the size of the post we want. When it gets over here, we know that that is going to increase to an inch, a little over an inch. And so that is where we'll put the wedge.
Here I am in the key step of cutting the handle to size to make sure the post will fit in the mallet head. So you have to measure, you cut a little bit, raise the saw blade, keep it just so you can sneak up on the precise size. So it takes a while to do it. Make sure your post is the correct size to fit in the mallet head. You don't want it too small. You want it. Here I am showing how I cut the bevel on the mallet head. My blade's tilted about 5 degrees. So I didn't actually record the cut, but here's how it would fit, and so you'll run it through both ends, both sides, to get a 5-degree bevel on the cut. Here I am just cleaning up the post, make sure it fits nice and smooth and easy enough to slip into the mallet head.
So now I have my handle marked up. I want to shape it to be like this, to where it has a bulbous, so you can grip it nicer and a little bit wider at the end. So I've marked on here parts that I'm going to cut off, and I've got it marked on all 4 sides. So now all we're going to do is get the shape. So the rest of this, we're going to put on a sander, and we're going to shape it and smooth it, and then we'll fit it in the mallet head. There's what the rough cut looks like.
So first I shape the handle. I just get out my drill with my round sander pad and go to town, get it nice and smooth. Then I work on the mallet head. So I spend some time making sure I have a nice transition between the bevels so it'll be nice and smooth and round over the corners.
Okay, so I have my handle sanded and I'm ready to prepare my handle shaft to fit in the head of the mallet. So I have drilled a relief hole. Now I'm going to cut a slot in here. So we're going to attempt to cut that straight down to there, and then that will allow us to put a wedge in the top and spread it out and keep the mallet head attached to the mallet handle. So I got my 3 wedge pieces I'm going to use to wedge in the top. I'm gonna kind of sand them down to put a little bit of taper so we know it'll go in easier, and leave them wide at the top so it'll tighten it up. Here's how the wedges will work. We have one that'll go in the middle, and these two will go on the outside. And that makes it nice and tight. So what we're going to be doing now is putting the first one in, make sure it's got a good wedge, and we'll come back in and put in the other two.
So after we trimmed off the wedges, we sanded the top smooth. It looked nice and good. And we finished with a nice clear coat of some poly for a nice sheen on our mallet. You can be the owner of this wooden mallet because it's being built in the hand tool build-off for James Wright's channel, Wood by Wright, in the hand tool giveaway. So I'll put a link below so you can be sure and go to his channel and find out how you could win this mallet for your very own. So if you enjoyed our video, give us a thumbs up. And as usual, come back and see us real soon.